Hi, my name is Bobbie Cox. My wife and I actually attend the 8 o'clock services. I've been asked to talk to you today about the Stephen Ministry, but I was also asked to begin by the mission of the church and what that mission means to me. The mission of the church is that everyone is included, and our action, our bold action, is fearless solidarity. For me, that everyone included speaks to everything about why this church is so important to me. Before coming to St. Timothy's, I lost God for a little bit of time. The reason for that is because I have a wife. It's a non-traditional marriage, and we are not accepted in most faiths. And that was made clear to me by another church that I attended. And on that day, that person that did that or said the words that they said and the actions that they had, it cut deep into my soul. So I walked alone for a little bit of time. I would go and look for God at Woodland Mound on Sundays. Since I didn't go to church, I'd walk the park. And I'd look out at the river and I would pray. And it just wasn't enough. And I kept seeing St. Timothy's down there. And I thought, well, you know what? I'll try this one. And I walked through the doors, and I've never felt more accepted. I found God in the eyes of every human being that I met. I found God the first time that Roger hugged me after services. Because you see, you want to be touched by God. You want to feel God's presence in your life. At least I do. And I found him again. Thank you. So after being a part of St. Timothy's for a while, I heard someone speak about the ministry, about the Stephen Ministry. And I thought, wow, that sounds really interesting. It was called to me. So I am a Stephen minister. Part of this I'll have to read. Stephen ministers are people in your congregation that go through a lot of training. It's 50 hours of pretty intense training before we're ever matched with anyone. And then one of the things that is unique and very special about St. Timothy's is typically it would be men were matched to men and women were matched to women. But we've altered that in our church to say that you're matched with that person that, or the gender that you are most comfortable with, because that's what we are. We are all inclusive, and we know that the needs of our congregation, the needs of God's people is different than what maybe tradition held in the past. So when you ask for a Stephen minister, the people that might ask for a minister would be those who are going through a divorce or a broken relationship. It might be someone who has lost a loved one that's experiencing grief. It could be someone who's going through a major medical crisis, or the caregiver of someone who is going through a major medical crisis. It could be someone who is transitioning into death, or someone who is helping someone to transition into death. It could be for that parent who is trying to raise their kids and trying to figure it out. It could be someone who's just trying to cope with life. COVID has been hard. And although society, and we want everything to go back to normal, maybe that's not where we are yet. It hurts. Change hurts. No matter what that change is. Maybe we're going to be going into retirement and trying to figure out what that future holds, which is something that's very near to and dear to me. It could be going through just everyday life crises. Somewhere in your life where you just need to have someone that listens. And that's what we do. We listen. So a Stephen minister does not heal you. God heals you. What a Stephen minister does is they walk beside you and they listen to you. Because, it's good to be able to put your words out there where you can just throw them out into the universe And you know the answers. Most oftentimes you know the answers. You just need to tell the words and to hear them maybe be repeated back to you. And then you find that in your soul. You find that in your spirit. The Stephen ministry is confidential. So you walk your path. No one's going to know who you are. It builds friendships. That's probably the most important thing to me about being a Stephen minister, is that you don't know the person that you're going to be matched with. You don't know what their problems are. And then you get to know them. And they get to know you. And you walk. And you talk. And sometimes you cry. And sometimes you need a hug. But what you need is for someone to care. There is no judgment. None. So if we are all created in God's image, who else would you want to walk beside? We find that in each other. We find our strength and our hopes in each other. So if you find yourself in a situation where a Stephen minister might come in handy, then please reach out to Roger or to Lisa or to Debbie Crotis and let them know that. And if you find yourself called to be a Stephen minister, then reach out to them as well. We can always use someone else. And remember God's love. He loves us. No exceptions. God's blessings.